As science teachers, we can ask our students to spend a lot of their time talking about science and reading about science and writing about science without actually doing much science. But what if we could reverse that? What if we could start in the lab doing science so that when we came together to chat, our discussions would center on what we just did and saw and observed? Each of the labs is a lesson that focuses on a main concept or idea. You can tell kids that substances diffuse more quickly at higher temperatures, or they can see for themselves with this investigation. Some of the labs use quantitative as well as qualitative data. Here the students are using a control to measure osmosis in potatoes. Each of the labs has both a video portion and a written portion. The written instructions are designed to go straight into the hands of students, so you can literally print and go.
So what is this site, this membership site? It is all the labs, eventually, all the labs that I've written will go into this repository collection, and just a way to have them easily accessible for you. When I went back into the classroom after years away, I kind of came in with this idea, oh, let's do a lab every day, sort of not thinking about the work involved, but also just trying to find that many labs. And what I found, and what you've probably found as you've looked around on the internet, there's lots of labs, but there's many labs, many of the same lab, different versions of the exact same lab. And so when I wanted to teach, there are lots of concepts I wanted to teach, I couldn't find a lab, and then I just had to write it. And so that's what this is. You will see some tried and true, some old favorites there for sure, but also plenty of original, unique labs that you probably haven't seen anywhere else, because I wrote them for that class. I will continue to sell individual labs as well as individual courses, but I don't envision selling every lab I write or every course I write individually. Certainly everything that I write will go into the membership, but it may or may not get sold as a one-off. So that's just one sort of small difference there. Along with trying to make things easy to find, I envision that there'll be forums for asking questions, answering questions. I hope to do some live trainings within the membership, just sort of a question and answer. If you need something demonstrated that maybe isn't in one of the labs, I'm happy to do that kind of on a semi-regular basis. So who's this for? My vision was always that it was for teachers as they're preparing for their classes, and the focus right now is middle school science. Could you use it for a homeschool situation? I think so. Lots of my friends who do homeschool have told me that it would work well. And when I was in the classroom, a lot of my students worked alone. They had that option because we had a self-directed classroom. So I think it would work, but it's not my background, so I don't want to promise something I'm not positive about. Who's this not for? This is not a plug and play. It's not sort of a computer program that you sit a student in front of, so it definitely won't work from that perspective. That said, I write all of the materials, all the labs to the student. So you'll see as you go through them, they're ready to sort of print and go and just hand them to the kids. This is also not, if you're really standards focused, if you're looking for NGSS or another state standard kind of focus, it's not my background. It's also not my philosophy. I've been around a lot of years and I've seen many of these standards sort of come and go. This is the third iteration since I've been teaching large sort of national scale science standards. I just think it's easy when you're driven by them to lose sight of the story of science, of the story of the unit, of the story of what's going on, sort of to connect each of the concepts together. And as I look around at different programs and I see they're interesting, they're fun, they might be hands-on, but they kind of hit the high points and you're left a little bit mystified. It's like, well, I don't understand where this fits or how this connects with the next one. And that's something I spend a lot of time on, is kind of what is the arc, what is the story that's trying to be told here with the concepts, and then the labs are linking one concept to the next, and often going back and looping back and developing stronger threads of understanding. As far as the pricing goes, this is as low as I expect to offer it. With the membership, whatever price you come in at is the price you remain at. So when it comes time for renewal, whether you're doing monthly or yearly, it'll stay whatever price you started at, even if that price disappears and the price goes up, which I do anticipate that it will. So just something to keep in mind. And finally, worldview. I think it's really helpful to have a sense of what is the worldview of the person or people who are writing the materials that you're using. Do you have to share the worldview? Probably not. I think we read lots of books from lots of different perspectives, but I wanted you to understand what mine was so that you're not surprised kind of down the road. And for me, that's that I believe in the Bible, that everything I have, that everything I am is because of Jesus Christ and what he did for me. And so does that come through? It does. But I'm very mindful that you can use the materials in a public school situation.
You can find the Bible studies along with the art and history connection toward the bottom of a unit. I have plans for every unit to have this feature, though currently not every unit does. The collection's growing. I'm adding new units and labs all the time. There's lots to choose from for middle school topics, and I'm just beginning to add more for younger students. Those targeted to upper elementary have a green background instead of blue. If you've been wanting to add more hands-on labs to your classroom or homeschool studies, I think the membership would be a helpful addition to your resources. Thanks for giving it a look.
Thanks so much.